Lily Winters stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The pattern of signals she had been tracking for weeks was back, stronger than ever. At first, she had dismissed it as equipment malfunction or some strange cosmic phenomenon. Now she was certain this was no natural occurrence. "Hey, Pete," she called to her colleague across the observatory. "I need you to verify something for me." Pete Miller rolled his chair over, adjusting his glasses as he peered at her monitor. His eyes widened gradually as he processed what he was seeing. "That's impossible," he whispered. "The signal pattern is too regular, too precise." "I know," Lily replied. "I think we need to call Washington." Within hours, the quiet observatory became a hub of activity. Government officials in dark suits arrived, followed by military personnel. NASA's top brass flew in on helicopters. Lily's discovery was now classified at the highest level. 3 days later, President Sam Wilson addressed the nation from the Oval Office. His normally confident face looked strained under the harsh camera lights. "My fellow Americans, today I must share news of extraordinary significance. We have confirmed contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. A fleet of vessels is approaching Earth and will arrive within our orbit in approximately 48 hours. Across the globe, reactions ranged from panic to celebration. Religious leaders called for prayer. Scientists rejoiced at confirmation of life beyond Earth. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. When the Xorlian ships finally appeared, they blocked out the sun in major cities, massive dark shadows hanging in the sky. Their design was organic yet mechanical, with curved hulls that seemed to pulse with internal energy. The first transmission came simultaneously to every electronic device on the planet. "People of Earth, we are the Xorlian Imperium. Your world is now under our protection and authority. Resistance is unnecessary and will result in consequences. Prepare your leaders for integration into the Galactic Council's resource management program." Admiral John Hayes stood on the bridge of Earth's newest aircraft carrier, watching the alien ships through high-powered binoculars. As head of the hastily formed Earth Defense Initiative, he had been given authority to respond to this threat. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "they're requesting a response to their terms." Hayes straightened his uniform and faced the camera they had set up. His gray eyes were determined, jaw set firmly. "This is Admiral John Hayes representing the unified governments of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we do not accept terms of surrender. Earth is our home, and we will defend it. We invite you to engage in diplomatic discussions as equals." The response came almost immediately. A being appeared on their screens, tall and insectoid with multiple limbs and gleaming compound eyes. "Your species lacks understanding of its position. Perhaps a demonstration will clarify." Before Hayes could respond, reports flooded in from around the world. Energy beams struck major cities: Beijing, London, Cairo, Sydney. Not enough to destroy them completely, but devastating nonetheless. Thousands dead in an instant. "Get me the president," Hayes ordered, his voice tight with controlled rage. That evening, as smoke rose from damaged cities and hospitals overflowed with the injured, humanity began to understand the true nature of their visitors. This was no peaceful first contact. It was invasion. In her observatory, now converted to a military analysis center, Lily Winters worked furiously to decode more Xorlian transmissions. Something about their technology suggested vulnerabilities that might not be immediately obvious. "We just need time," she told the military officers surrounding her. "If they wanted us completely destroyed, they could have done it already. That means they need something from us." As night fell across a changed world, humanity prepared for its greatest challenge yet. 6 months had passed since the Xorlians established control over Earth. Major cities now served as processing centers where humans were registered, categorized, and assigned labor duties. Massive extraction facilities dotted the landscape, pulling minerals and resources from the ground at an alarming rate. The Xorlian commander Zex Tur addressed his officers in their orbital command station. The humans have been officially classified as a resource species by the Galactic Council. Their planet contains rich deposits of rare elements, and their population provides adequate labor. Resistance continues to diminish. But Commander Zextor was wrong about the resistance. In an abandoned subway tunnel beneath what was once Chicago, Steve Garcia loaded ammunition into a modified rifle. The former Marine had been leading a cell of fighters since the occupation began. "They're moving another shipment of processed metals tonight," he told the 20 men and women gathered around him. "We hit the convoy, take what we can carry, and disappear before reinforcements arrive." One of the newer recruits, a young woman named Olivia, looked skeptical. "Their weapons are still way beyond ours. How many more people are we going to lose?" Steve nodded toward the far end of the tunnel where two figures worked under harsh portable lights. "That's why we have our secret weapons." Kate Miller and Alan Foster had been working nonstop analyzing Xorlian technology from salvaged pieces. Kate, once a physicist at Fermilab, wiped sweat from her brow as she made final adjustments to a device. "It's ready," she called out. "The magnetic disruptor should work on their energy shields now. We've matched the frequency." Alan, who had been a mechanical engineer before the invasion, looked up from his workbench. "The modified EMP grenades are good to go too. Remember, you've got about a 3-second window after the magnetic pulse before their systems compensate." What the Xorlians didn't know was that Earth's unique magnetic field contained properties they were sensitive to. Kate had discovered this by accident when a captured piece of Xorlian technology malfunctioned near her old laboratory equipment. That night, Steve's team struck the convoy. When the first magnetic disruptor activated, the Xorlian guards collapsed in pain, their exoskeletons vibrating uncontrollably. For the first time, the resistance fighters won without casualties. Meanwhile, in a different part of the resistance network, a team of hackers led by former cybersecurity expert Greg Wheeler had made a breakthrough. Using modified Xorlian communication devices, they'd managed to intercept transmissions between Earth and the wider galactic community. "You need to see this," Greg told Kate when she returned from the raid. "There's something called the Galactic Council. The Xorlians are just one species among dozens, maybe hundreds." They watched recordings of council meetings discussing Earth's status. Most disturbing was how casually the council members referred to humans as resources rather than intelligent beings with rights. "They didn't even give us a chance to join as equals," Kate said quietly. "They just decided we were cattle." But one transmission revealed something useful. Not all council species agreed with Xorlian methods. Some representatives questioned the ethics of subjugating developing worlds. As dawn broke over the ruins of Chicago, Kate and Alan worked with renewed purpose. Their latest discovery might be the key to humanity's survival. The magnetic field that had always protected Earth from cosmic radiation could be weaponized against their oppressors. "If we can amplify these magnetic properties," Kate explained to the resistance leaders, "we might create weapons that affect Xorlians more severely than anything they've encountered before." For the first time since the occupation began, hope spread through the underground network. Humanity wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win. Kate Miller's hands trembled slightly as she connected the final wire to what she'd been calling the Earth Pulse device. For weeks, she and Alan had worked day and night to develop a weapon that could turn the tide against the Xorlians. "Ready for the test?" Alan asked, checking the readings on his tablet. Kate nodded. They had constructed a chamber using salvaged Xorlian metals to contain the magnetic pulse they were about to create. Inside sat a piece of Xorlian technology they'd recovered during a raid. 3, 2, 1. Kate pressed the activation switch. A low hum filled the underground lab. The Xorlian device inside the chamber vibrated violently before emitting a shower of sparks. Then it simply fell apart, its components separating as if they had never been assembled. "It works," Alan exclaimed, his tired face breaking into a wide smile. "The magnetic pulse disrupts their molecular bonding technology." Kate was already running calculations. "We can scale this up. If we build larger versions and position them strategically, we could disable their weapons, maybe even their ships. Within days, resistance cells across the globe received plans for building Earth Pulse devices. Steve Garcia coordinated what they were now calling Operation Thunderstrike, a coordinated worldwide attack against Xorlian outposts. We strike simultaneously, Steve explained to resistance leaders over secured communications. The Rocky Mountains facility will be our primary target since it's smaller and more isolated. If we can capture it intact, we gain access to their communication network. On a cold morning in what had once been Colorado, Steve led 50 fighters toward the Xorlian outpost built into the mountainside. Each carried a backpack-sized Earth Pulse generator. "Remember," Steve said as they took positions surrounding the facility, "activate your devices on my signal, wait for their systems to fail, then move in fast." When Steve gave the command, 50 magnetic pulse generators activated at once. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Alarms blared briefly before failing. Xorlian guards stumbled out of the facility, their exoskeletons twitching uncontrollably. For the first time, humans had the upper hand. They secured the facility with minimal casualties. Inside, they found something unexpected: a high-ranking Xorlian officer who had been unable to escape. The insectoid alien was immobilized but still conscious. "You've made a grave error," the Xorlian said through its translation device. "The Council will send more forces than you can imagine." Steve leaned close to the alien's face. "Then we'll have questions for you before they arrive." Over the next several hours, the captured officer, who identified himself as Sub-Commander Vexnar, revealed crucial information. The Galactic Council wasn't as unified as the Xorlians had suggested. Several species resented Xorlian expansion and their practice of claiming resource rights to developing worlds. "The new Vari in particular would welcome your resistance," Vexnar admitted reluctantly. "They have disputed our methods for centuries." Even more valuable were the technical specifications stored in the outpost's databases. Alan and a team of engineers discovered plans for Xorlian faster-than-light drive systems. "We can build this," Alan told Kate as they examined the schematics. "With the materials we've captured and what we can salvage, we could construct a ship capable of reaching other star systems." Reports flooded in from around the world. Operation Thunderstrike had succeeded beyond their expectations. 17 Xorlian facilities had been captured intact. In a moment of poetic justice, Kate and Alan set up their command center in the very room where Xorlians had planned Earth's exploitation. On a holographic display, they projected their next goal: adapting captured Xorlian technology to build humanity's first interstellar vessel. "If we're going to survive," Kate said as she studied the star charts, "we need to take this fight beyond Earth. We need to show the Galactic Council that humans aren't just resources to be harvested." The Resistance now had a new mission: reaching the stars. The ship named Defiance hung in Earth's orbit, its hull cobbled together from captured Xorlian technology and human ingenuity. It wasn't beautiful by any standard. Sections of different metals patched together, human additions clearly visible against alien components, but it represented humanity's first true starship. On the bridge, Captain Maria Rodriguez performed final checks before their mission. A former commercial airline pilot, she had been selected to command this crucial mission for her quick thinking and steady nerves. "All systems operational," reported her navigation officer, Ben Clark. "The modified FTL drive is stable according to Kate's specifications." Maria nodded, surveying her crew of 20 scientists, soldiers, and engineers, all trained hastily over the past 2 months. They represented Earth's first space combat team, and their mission was straightforward but dangerous: disable the Xorlian orbital command station. "Begin approach," Maria ordered. "Engage stealth systems." The Defiance moved silently through space, its hull coated with materials that absorbed Xorlian scanning frequencies. Alan Foster's engineering team had worked miracles adapting the alien technology. "We're in position," Ben announced, 500 meters from the station's main docking port. Maria took a deep breath. Deploy magnetic disruptors. 3 small devices launched from the Defiance, attaching to different points on the massive station. When activated, they released a powerful pulse that rippled through the Xorlian structure. Lights flickered and died across the station's surface. Boarding teams, go, Maria commanded. 3 shuttles detached from the Defiance, carrying soldiers equipped with Earth pulse weapons. Led by Steve Garcia, they breached the station through emergency airlocks. Station security is disorganized, Steve reported back. Most of their systems are down. We're proceeding to the control center. The human teams moved efficiently through the darkened corridors, encountering confused Xorlian crew members who were quickly subdued. Within 20 minutes, they had secured the station's main control room. Captain, you need to see this, Steve's voice crackled over the comm. We've found human prisoners. Maria docked the Defiance and boarded the station. What she discovered chilled her blood. Hundreds of humans were held in research pods, many showing signs of experimentation. Medical officers from her crew immediately began freeing them. They were studying us, explained one freed scientist, Dr. Frank Wilson, testing how we adapt to different conditions. The Xorlians seemed fascinated by our ability to survive in varied environments. What else did you learn while captive? Maria asked. The Xorlians are scared, Frank said, accepting a blanket from a crew member. Humans are adapting to their technology too quickly, and some of the test subjects showed unexpected reactions to Xorlian biological agents, immunity, or even beneficial mutations. While medical teams treated the freed prisoners, Maria's technical crew downloaded everything from the station's databases. What they found confirmed their worst fears. The Xorlians planned to strip Earth completely, extracting all valuable resources before abandoning the planet. They'd done this before, technical specialist Ellen Reeves reported, scrolling through translated files. At least 7 other worlds have been similarly harvested. As they prepared to return to Earth with the rescued prisoners, Maria noticed a secured chamber near the station commander's quarters. Inside, they discovered an unusual crystalline device. This is some kind of direct communication link to the Galactic Council, Ellen explained after examining it. It's quantum entangled with counterparts across the galaxy. Maria carefully secured the device. This might be our ticket to being heard beyond the Xorlians. As they departed, sensors detected multiple Xorlian warships entering the solar system. The Defiance activated its FTL drive, disappearing in a flash of light before the Xorlian ships could intercept them. Back on Earth, the liberation of the orbital station sent shockwaves through the resistance. Not only had humans successfully taken the fight to space, but they now possessed a communication device that could reach the wider galaxy. It's time, Kate Miller said as she examined the Council communication device, to find out if we have any potential allies out there. Kate Miller worked for 3 days straight to understand the crystalline communication device. The quantum technology was far beyond current human science, but its interface was surprisingly intuitive, almost as if designed for multiple species to use. I think I've got it, she finally announced to the gathered leadership. The device connects to a galactic communication network. It has preset connections to various Council species. Admiral Hayes watched intently as Kate activated the device. A holographic display flickered to life, showing what appeared to be a directory of alien civilizations. There, Kate pointed to one entry. The Nuvari. According to the information we got from Vexnar, they've opposed Xorlian expansion policies for centuries. With a collective breath held, Kate selected the Nuvari contact. The hologram shifted, and after several tense moments, a figure appeared. The alien had a vaguely humanoid shape, but with iridescent scaled skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and silver, lacking pupils. This is an unauthorized use of a Council communication device, the Nuvari stated, its words translated by the device. Identify yourself. Maria Rodriguez stepped forward. I am Captain Maria Rodriguez of Earth. We've captured this device from our Xorlian oppressors who invaded our world without provocation. The Nuveri's silver eyes widened slightly. Humans have managed to overpower Xorlian forces. This is unexpected. We've discovered that our planet's magnetic field affects their biology and technology, Maria explained. We're fighting back, but we need allies. For several moments, the Nuveri was silent. Then, I am Ambassador Trelvik of the Nuveri Collective. The Xorlians have long abused council regulations regarding developing worlds. Your situation interests us greatly. Over the next hour, Maria and Hayes explained Earth's situation. Ambassador Trelvik listened carefully, occasionally asking pointed questions about human capabilities and Xorlian vulnerabilities. The Xorlians have declared your world a resource acquisition zone, Trelvik finally said. Under council law, they must prove the dominant species is non-sentient or incapable of joining galactic civilization. They clearly lied about humanity. We want recognition as a sovereign species, Hayes stated firmly, and justice for the unprovoked attack on our world. The Nuveri's scales shifted colors slightly. My people have waited long for solid evidence of Xorlian violations. I propose an alliance. We will provide technological assistance and political support in the Council. In exchange, we request access to study your magnetic field technologies. It took just 3 days for the first Nuveri ship to arrive in Earth's orbit. Unlike the menacing Xorlian vessels, the Nuveri craft was elegant, with sweeping lines that reminded humans of ocean creatures. The Nuveri brought advanced weapons, shield technology, and most importantly, detailed information about Xorlian weaknesses. They were impressed by how quickly humans adapted their technology. Your species learns faster than any we've encountered, Trelvik remarked while observing human engineers integrate Nuveri components into Earth's growing fleet. Within weeks, the Earth-Nuveri Alliance launched coordinated attacks against Xorlian forces. The Nuveri provided faster-than-light transportation to 3 other worlds suffering under Xorlian occupation. On a planet called Ceres, Steve Garcia led a team teaching the native inhabitants how to build Earth pulse weapons. The bird-like Ceresians had been under Xorlian control for decades, but rose up quickly once given the means. News of these successful rebellions spread rapidly through council channels. Species that had long feared challenging Xorlian dominance began to whisper about the humans and their surprising resistance. In the council's grand chambers, the Xorlian representatives faced uncomfortable questions. How had they failed to subdue a supposedly primitive species? Why had they classified humans as non-sentient when they clearly demonstrated advanced problem-solving and technological adaptation? The Council demands answers. The Grand Arbiter's message to the Xorlian fleet commander stated, the humans have filed formal grievances with supporting evidence from the Nuveri Collective. As Xorlian ships retreated from Earth orbit to regroup, humanity celebrated its first true victory. Earth was not yet fully liberated, but for the first time, they were fighting on equal footing, and the galaxy was watching. Ambassador Nicole Warren had never imagined she would represent humanity on an interstellar stage. 6 months ago, she had been a diplomatic attaché working on trade agreements. Now she stood aboard a Nuveri vessel approaching the massive space station that housed the Galactic Council. Remember, the formal procedures are important, Ambassador Trelvik advised as they prepared to dock. The Council values protocol above all else. Nicole nodded, straightening her uniform. Earth's delegation consisted of 5 humans, including Admiral Hayes and Kate Miller. They represented humanity's political, military, and scientific interests. What happens if they refuse to hear us? Nicole asked. Trelvik's scales shifted to a deeper blue. They cannot legally refuse, but the Xorlians will attempt to classify this as an internal resource management dispute. The council station was a marvel of engineering, a massive ring structure with different atmospheric sections to accommodate the biology of various member species. As they followed Trelvik through the grand corridors, the humans drew curious and sometimes hostile stares from alien representatives. At the entrance to the council chambers, they were stopped by towering guards with crystalline armor. "The human delegation is not on the schedule," one stated flatly. Nickel stepped forward. "Under Article 7 of the Council Charter, we invoke the right of petition as victims of unprovoked aggression." The guard hesitated, clearly not expecting a primitive human to cite council law. After consulting a superior, they were reluctantly admitted. The council chamber itself was breathtaking, a vast amphitheater with hundreds of representatives from across the galaxy. At the center stood a raised platform where the 7 senior counselors presided. As the humans entered, the Xorlian delegation immediately rose in protest. "These creatures have no standing here." The Xorlian representative chittered. "Earth is a designated resource world. Its inhabitants are property of the Xorlian Imperium." "We challenge that designation," Nicole announced, her voice carrying across the chamber. "And we bring evidence of Xorlian war crimes against multiple sentient species." A murmur spread through the assembly. The senior arbiter, a tall being with transparent skin revealing complex organs beneath, raised a hand for silence. "The council acknowledges the human petition," the arbiter stated. "Present your evidence." Kate activated a holographic display showing recorded Xorlian communications and documentation from their own databases. Images of human experimentation, plans for Earth's complete resource extraction, and violations of council protocols for first contact appeared in the air for all to see. The Xorlians deliberately misclassified humans as non-sentient despite clear evidence to the contrary, Nicole explained. "They attacked civilian population centers without provocation and instituted forced labor camps." The Xorlian representative hissed. "These primitives attacked our peacekeeping forces. They stole Xorlian technology and violated resource claim protocols." Admiral Hayes stepped forward. "Earth never consented to being classified as a resource world. We were never given the opportunity to join the Council as equals." Nicole then presented the most damning evidence, records showing similar Xorlian tactics used against 7 other worlds, 3 of which now stood liberated by the Human Nuveri Alliance. Representatives from these freed worlds stepped forward one by one, their testimonies creating a damning pattern of Xorlian abuses spanning centuries. As the evidence mounted, other council species began to voice long-suppressed grievances against Xorlian expansion. Old territorial disputes and economic conflicts surfaced as the political unity of the council fractured. "The Phylaxian Confederation stands with Earth," announced one feline representative. "The Doran Assembly recognizes humans as sentient equals," declared another. By the session's end, nearly 30 species had formally recognized Earth's sovereignty. The Xorlian delegation found themselves increasingly isolated. The senior arbiter finally spoke after hours of testimony. "This council hereby suspends the Xorlian resource claim on Earth pending full investigation. Earth is provisionally recognized as a sovereign world with the right to self-defense." As they left the chamber, Nicole felt both triumph and concern. They had won this battle, but the Xorlians would not accept defeat easily. "We've changed the balance of power today," Admiral Hayes said quietly. "The galaxy will never be the same." 1 year after humanity's appearance before the Galactic Council, the grand courtroom on neutral territory buzzed with tension. The trial of the Xorlian leadership had reached its final day. 5 former Xorlian commanders stood in the center of the chamber, their once proud postures now subdued. Chief Justice Zelmora, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline form, addressed the assembly. "This tribunal has reviewed all evidence of crimes against sentient species. The pattern of deception, unlawful resource extraction, and genocide is irrefutable." In the gallery, Nicole Warren sat with representatives from 6 formerly subjugated worlds. Each species had suffered under Xorlian rule, but now they shared something powerful. Freedom won through alliance with humanity. "The tribunal finds all defendants guilty," Justice Zelmore announced. "Their assets will be seized and distributed as reparations to the affected worlds. The defendants are sentenced to rehabilitation on the prison moon of Keltaris." As the Xorlian leaders were led away, Nickel reflected on how much had changed. What began as Earth's desperate fight for survival had triggered a reformation of galactic politics. Back on Earth, the changes were equally dramatic. Admiral Hayes stood on the observation deck of the orbital shipyard, watching construction of Earth's defense fleet. 12 ships were already complete, with 20 more under construction. The new materials are integrating perfectly with our designs, reported his chief engineer. The magnetic shield technology is now standard on all vessels. Hayes nodded with satisfaction. Earth's unique magnetic field properties, once merely a scientific curiosity, had become their greatest military advantage. Ships designed and built by humans now incorporated this technology in ways the older species had never imagined. "Any word from our outposts?" Hayes asked. "All 5 colony worlds report normal operations," his aide responded. "The terraforming on Mars is ahead of schedule thanks to the Phylaxian atmospheric processors. In Chicago, now rebuilt and serving as Earth's Center for Interspecies Cooperation, Kate Miller led a team of scientists from 7 different worlds. The research facility specialized in developing technologies that combine the unique strengths of each species. The adaptive learning algorithms from humans paired with Doran quantum processing is revolutionary," Kate explained to visitors touring the facility. "We've reduced calculation times by 86%. What impressed their alien allies most wasn't human technology. It was human adaptability. While most species excelled in specific environments or technical fields, humans showed remarkable ability to learn, adapt, and integrate diverse concepts. Your species thinks differently," Ambassador Trelvik had explained to Kate. "Most council races specialize over millennia of evolution. Humans remain generalists, allowing you to make connections others miss." This quality had made humans valuable partners in the newly formed Defense Pact. 6 worlds, including Earth, had established a mutual protection agreement independent of council oversight. Each contributed their strengths: Nuveri spacecraft, Cerisium agriculture, Phylaxian medicine, and human innovation. The culmination of Earth's journey came on a spring day in Geneva. The rebuilt United Nations headquarters hosted representatives from over 300 worlds, as Ambassador Nickel Warren signed Earth's formal membership to the reformed Galactic Alliance. "As equals, we join this community of worlds," Nickel stated as she pressed her palm to the illuminated treaty. "Earth pledges to uphold the principles of sovereignty, cooperation, and justice for all sentient beings." The arbiter, representing the Reformed Council, responded, "The Alliance welcomes Earth not merely as a member, but as the catalyst that reformed our failing institutions. Your species' fierce determination to be recognized as equals has reminded us of principles long forgotten." That evening, as celebrations lit up cities across Earth, Steve Garcia stood on a hillside watching the distant festivities. Beside him was Lily Winters, the astronomer who had first detected the alien signals. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" she asked. Steve shook his head. "Not once. I was just fighting for survival. And now we're known across the galaxy," Lily said. "Not just for fighting, but for changing how species interact." Above them, visible in the twilight sky, a new constellation of lights marked the orbital stations where humans worked alongside alien allies. Earth wasn't just surviving, it was thriving as a respected power in the galaxy. The fierce retaliation that began as a desperate act of resistance had transformed into something greater, a new vision for galactic cooperation.